Well, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Hope everyone's having a lovely day and that you had a good weekend, and that you were able to check out the live streams from over the 3 days that I've been gone. On Friday night, Nate Kane, the Clinton Foundation whistleblower, joined us. On Saturday, the Fall Brothers from Fourth Watch Films joined us, and on Sunday, Tiffany Fitzhenry joined us. All of the interviews were incredible. It was a bunch of really good information, and everyone that did watch them had good things to say. So please do check those out if you haven't yet. Also, just if you're not aware, YouTube has allowed me the option of allowing people to be members on this channel. So if you look below this video, there should be a join button right next to my subscriber information. If you feel like you want to support this channel on a monthly basis, you can go ahead and do that. There are some perks that come along with it. But otherwise, just continue to watch, share, and make sure that you're still subscribed and that your notifications are turned on. You also might need to go into notifications on your phone and make sure that those notifications are turned on. They make it a little difficult to make sure you get the notifications on my videos. All right, guys, we've got so much information to go over today. As we know, the IG report did come out. We had some incredible things that happened around that. James Comey has come out and said that he knows that he was wrong in saying that the FISA process was followed. We've also got Donald Trump, President Trump, commenting on James Comey's position there. Rudy Giuliani is dropping tons of information in regards to the Ukraine and more. We've also got the Democrats making up crimes against the president so that they can get him impeached, but we know that he's done absolutely nothing wrong. And if you do live in a Democratic district, I am calling on you to call those congressmen and tell them that you do not want the president to be impeached, because this is absolutely not fair. Also, out of Detroit, we've got thousands of irregularities in voting there. They are getting a lawsuit. And finally, Devin Nunes is speaking out about Adam Schiff and saying that he's a serial liar. He needs help. We know that's the case. All right, guys, so please do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsor. So guys, the biggest news right now is the return of Q. Our favorite Anon is back. 8kun is online, and this is super fantastic for all of us here on the Anon movement and all patriots across America. Now, it's just in time for the latest impeachment saga, so we can cover everything and all the other crap being thrown at us by the deep state. The Q drops are back. It could not be a better time to be alive, and I think that's worth the celebration. Now, right here, we've got the Q coin. It is unique. There's nothing else like it. It's a celebration of the mission and all those who joined in the struggle to make America great again. You can see the intricate and detailed craftsmanship from here. It's American-made, and it's full of symbols and sayings of the struggle. It can also be used with AR technology to bring the movement alive. Now, the holidays are coming up, and it would make a perfect gift for the special patriot in your life. It's different. It's the Q coin. So go to greatawakeningcoin.com and use the code REDPILL78 and get 30% off. Once again, that's greatawakeningcoin.com and get 30% off by using my special code REDPILL78. Please help support my channel by supporting my sponsors. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all today, James Comey has admitted he was wrong in saying that the FISA process was followed, but he stops short of saying that the FBI engaged in any misconduct when they targeted Carter Page. Fired FBI Director James Comey on Sunday said he was wrong to say the FISA process was followed. However, he remained defiant and claimed the mistakes were all just human error and sloppy FBI work. Now, I say this, there is no such thing as only human error and sloppy work when it comes to criminal matters such as this. It is incredibly necessary that these public servants remain as on point as possible and follow the letter of the law. Otherwise, how can we expect them to enforce it? Comey appeared on Fox News Sunday and told host Chris Wallace that Horowitz was right in his conclusion that the FBI had made significant errors in targeting the Trump campaign advisor Carter Page. Chris Wallace played a December 2018 clip of Comey, who said, "I have total confidence that the FISA process was followed and that the entire case was handled in a thoughtful and responsible way by the FBI and the DOJ." Comey responded, "I was overconfident in the procedures that the FBI and justice had built over 20 years. I thought they were robust enough. I'm responsible for this." And it continues on. Comey was defiant throughout the entire interview. Every time Chris would put something forward, he would act like he didn't understand what Chris was talking about. When asked about specifically lying speaking to the FISA court, he said that that's not how it went. Let's go ahead and take a listen to this clip.
You have been taking something of a victory lap since the IG report was released earlier this week. The question is whether or not it's justified. Here are you and the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, answering the same question.
Do you think this is vindication?
It is. I mean, the FBI's had to wait 2 years while the president and his followers lied about the institution. Finally, the truth gets told.
Does your report vindicate Mr. Comey?
It doesn't vindicate anyone at the FBI who touched this, including the leadership.
The IG says you should feel no vindication.
Well, maybe it turns upon how we understand the word. What I mean is that the FBI was accused of treason, of illegal spying, of tapping Mr. Trump's wires illegally, of opening an investigation without justification, of being a criminal conspiracy to defeat and then unseat a president. All of that was nonsense. I think it's really important that the Inspector General looked at that and that the American people, your viewers and all viewers, understand that's true. But he also found things that we were never accused of, which is real sloppiness, and that's concerning. As I've said all along, has to be focused on. If I were director, I'd be very concerned about it and diving into it.
Well, sloppiness may be a euphemism for what it is he found. One of his big concerns is the way the FBI handled the FISA applications and the warrants that allowed you to surveil Carter Page, who was a former foreign policy advisor to the Trump campaign. Again, here is what you said about the FISA process and what the Inspector General Horowitz said this week. Take a look.
I have total confidence that the FISA process was followed and that the entire case was handled in a thoughtful, responsible way by DOJ and the FBI.
We identified significant inaccuracies and omissions in each of the 4 applications, 7 in the first application and a total of 17 by the final renewal application.
17 significant errors in the FISA process, and you say that it was handled in a thoughtful and appropriate way.
Yeah, he's right. I was wrong. I was overconfident in the procedures that the FBI and Justice had built over 20 years. I thought they were robust enough. It's incredibly hard to get a FISA.
All right. Now, look at Comey's right eye. Does it look like it's a little swollen? I mean, it certainly is a lot more swollen than the other eye. So did James Comey take a punch to the eye? Or is he just maybe really tired because he's been dealing with a lot recently? Now, he says that this was just sloppiness and that this is something that obviously needs to be looked into further. But if it's not criminal, Jim, then what is it? And how did these career FBI and DOJ officials get to the level they did if they were this sloppy? He also says that the question is whether or not it was systemic. Well, I put a tweet out on Twitter and I said, well, we know that the problem was systemic. It's pretty obvious that it was running rampant throughout the entire FBI and the DOJ at the time that this took place. But the real question is, how many people are going to go to jail? Now, Chris Wallace continues on and asks James Comey here about Kevin Clinesmith. Kevin Clinesmith, who doctored a document, an email from the clowns in America, stating unequivocally that Carter Page was a confidential human source working for them. So that when he was out talking to Russian assets, the reason he was doing that was because he was working for the clowns in America. I'm sure that everyone remembers that Kevin Clinesmith doctored that email and made it look like Carter Page was not an actual confidential human source or an asset for the clowns in America, thereby giving the FISA court what they needed in order to surveil him and use that umbrella surveillance to continue on and get people in his orbit, which necessarily leads to President Donald Trump and candidate Trump at that time. But James Comey won't take responsibility for that. He won't take responsibility for the illegal actions performed by people under his watch. He only takes responsibility for the sloppiness. Now, Horowitz stated, most definitely no one is vindicated by this report. But Horowitz was not tasked with looking into the criminal aspect of it, only the administrative act of what took place. Did they follow the rules? Did they actually go by the prescribed procedures in making sure that this investigation was above board? And the answer to that clearly is no. So, once again, it falls upon the shoulders of James Comey because he was the leader of the FBI. He also says that as leader of the FBI, he wasn't necessarily read into everything that was taking place, and that when it came down to evidence that simply didn't exist, he says that he wasn't apprised of that. So when it comes down to it, James Comey clearly has a fair level of blame in this entire thing. He was actually part of the counterintelligence investigation into President Trump. When he went to Trump Tower to apprise President Trump of the dossier itself, he did it to try to blackmail the president, to see what the president's reaction would be. Although he knew that this was 100% fake, absolutely made up, he still was willing to use it to try to control a democratically elected president of this great republic. Now, the person who was tasked with the criminal aspect of this investigation is U.S. Attorney John Durham. Now, don't forget, U.S. Attorney Durham started out October 27th, 2017, the same date as our favorite Anon began posting. Now, here on post 3673 on the 14th, we are asked month and day that Durham was initiated, month and day that this public campaign was initiated. How many coincidences before it's mathematically impossible? It was over before it began. Now, someone mentioned over the weekend that I was maybe misleading people in terms of my rosy, sunny disposition about how all this is going. But when you take a look at the totality of the facts and you see how well it was planned out and how everything has taken place along the way, if you allow yourself to see this and to actually digest the magnitude of it and think about that, the mathematical impossibility, if you know anything about statistics, then you know that this is as real as it gets. Now, we were also told in post 3674 that other foreign countries are also investigating the abuses by their own intel agencies. It's not just Durham. It is people in Italy, in Australia, in Great Britain, and every country that helped in the coup to try to remove President Trump. And we're asked, what if other AG equivalents in foreign countries are currently investigating use of their intel apparatus for illegal purposes? Was the chain of command followed? Huber, DOJ planes, Clinton Foundation. Don't forget, we talked about this over the weekend when Nate was on the show. U.S. Attorney Huber from Utah also was part of the investigation, and he was handling the Clinton Foundation aspect. Nate brought something very interesting to my attention, perhaps a reason that Huber is involved. Do you guys realize that a significant portion of the uranium mined in the United States happens right there in Utah? So perhaps Huber also saw some of this stuff taking place with Uranium One. Perhaps it directly affects him. Perhaps as a Utah native, he's got some skin in this game, and I really like the idea. Now, President Trump had some choice words for James Comey. He said, "So now Comey's admitting he was wrong. Wow, but he's only doing it because he got caught red-handed. He was actually caught a long time ago. So what are the consequences for this unlawful conduct? Could it be years in jail? Where are the apologies to me and others, Jim?" Once again, why am I so comfy? Because I can read the writing on the wall. I see exactly what's happening, and I understand the significance of it. No one's walking away from this, and none of these people who are involved in a coup to remove President Trump from office can expect to get anything less than significant prison time. Now, Rudy Giuliani is out there dropping some incredible information on money laundering operations involving the Bidens, Burisma. He's got records that show the prosecutor investigating Burisma was poisoned. Now, our favorite Anon posted this on the board, the fact that Rudy Giuliani was going to be releasing this information, and he did. And here we go. President Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, taunted the deep state Democrat media complex on Sunday morning and said he will be sharing evidence he has garnered through hundreds of hours of research. Stay tuned, Rudy said. Rudy traveled to Hungary and Ukraine a couple weeks ago, and he met with officials in Kiev in his ongoing efforts to expose corruption and pay-to-play schemes involving the Biden crime family and other Democrats. Now, Mr. Giuliani revealed last Monday morning on Steve Bannon's radio show, The War Room Impeachment, that he was working to release a report on his findings from his latest trip to Europe to Attorney General Bill Barr and GOP lawmakers in Congress. A few hours after his initial tweet on Sunday, Rudy began dropping big Moabs one tweet at a time. Rudy said Viktor Shokin, the Ukrainian prosecutor general investigating Burisma, was not only fired after Biden threatened to withhold aid from Ukraine, exactly what they're accusing President Trump of doing, but that he was poisoned and barely survived the poisoning. They were trying to get rid of him. Shokin holds documents proving money laundering by Burisma and the Bidens, Giuliani said. He was fired due to VP Joe Biden's threat not to release $1 billion in U.S. aid. Giuliani then said, Shokin's medical records show he was poisoned, died twice, and was even revived. Lots of heads will roll in Ukraine if this opens up. All of a sudden, Shokin gets this communique from Latvia that shows a $16 million laundering transaction. Classic laundering transaction, Giuliani said. It goes from Ukraine to Latvia. It's disguised as a loan to another company, to Wire Logic, I believe. It then goes to Cyprus. It gets disguised as another loan. Then this is called Digitech. Then it's dispersed as payment as board fees, he added. Giuliani said, now you don't make two loans to make board fees unless you're laundering the money. $3 million gets to Hunter Biden in this exact way. That is straight out of violation of a money laundering statute, he said. Now, I'm sure that everyone has seen the interview that Rudy Giuliani did with Chanel Rion, but we're going to watch a clip of it here because it is very good.
The document referred here is an official letter dated February 2016 from the Prosecutor's Office of the Republic of Latvia, Money Laundering Investigations Division. The letter states, quote, according to publicly available information, Burisma Holding Limited and its director Hunter Biden are involved in a corruption affair, end quote. Latvia traced $14.7 million between 2012 and 2015. The funds were transferred back to Burisma to the accounts of Devon Archer and Hunter Biden. When America asked Shokin if he recognized the document, he said he did, and that there were more such inquiries that made it impossible for him to justify simply shutting down the Burisma cases. One American News also verified on camera what Shokin had stated in a stunning 12-page sworn affidavit to an Austrian court. Quote, President Poroshenko asked me to resign due to pressure from the U.S. presidential administration, in particular from Joe Biden, who was the U.S. vice president. Biden was threatening to withhold $1 billion in U.S. subsidies to Ukraine until I was removed from office. Shokin goes on, quote, I was forced out because I was leading a wide-ranging corruption probe into Burisma. Joe Biden's son was on the board of directors. I refused to close this investigation. Therefore, I was forced to leave under direct and intense pressure from Joe Biden and the U.S. administration.
Well, there you have it, folks. We've got documented evidence. We've got statements, sworn affidavits from people involved in this case. We have a man who was trying to do the right thing, and what happened? He was fired, and then he was poisoned. I can't think of a single thing that Shokin is going to get out of this except for more heartbreak and perhaps more threats upon his life. Clearly, we have the sauce, and it's the Bidens at the center of it. Now, it goes on in the tweet thread. Of course, remember that Yuri Lutsenko, the inheritor of Shokin's office, showed us that records prove Ambassador Yovanovitch perjured herself at least twice. There are docs showing that she was denying visas to witnesses who could prove Biden and the Dems' corruption. Clear documentary proof of money laundering by Burisma and the Bidens. Millions of dollars. Now, the Dems' impeachment for innocent conduct is intended to obstruct the below investigations of these Obama-era corruptions. Billions of dollars laundered. Billions, mostly U.S. dollars, widely misused. There was also extortion, bribery, DNC collusion with the Ukraine to destroy candidate Trump, and he says much more to come. Now, in a stunning move that shows just how desperate the Democrats are, they have manufactured a wire fraud charge against the president so that they can criminally indict him. And they're suggesting 20 years in prison. You've got to be kidding me. This is crazy even for the Democrats. Now, the House Judiciary Committee released a 169-page report in the dead of night Monday, alleging that President Trump committed criminal acts including bribery and wire fraud. Christina Layla reported that the report will accompany the two very broad articles of impeachment that will be voted on this week, likely on Wednesday. Of course, they made the criminal charges up this past weekend after voting in committee on these two bogus charges. Number one is abuse of power, a very broad charge that means nothing. Number two is obstruction of Congress. It's a made-up crime. It's something they completely made up out of whole cloth. And now the Democrats are adding charges to their committee proposal. They are completely making this up as they go along from day to day. And the liberal fake news media is right there with them. We're witnessing a complete meltdown of the Democratic Party, and the far-left media hacks are with them 100% of the way. Now, liberal reporter Kyle Cheney posted the latest controversial language in the Democrat Party's sham impeachment report, and the Democrats are alleging a 20-year prison sentence for something they never even voted on. Now, what's really shocking is that they are pressing ahead with this in the face of overwhelming opposition, not only from the American people, but you have people in the Democratic Party who are now leaving the Democratic Party to become Republicans. There is a man out of New Jersey, I can't remember his name, but he, over the weekend, met with President Trump and decided that he's no longer going to be a Democrat. He's switching parties to be a Republican, so that means the Democrats have one less vote. Now, he wasn't going to vote for impeachment in the first place, but as a matter of protest, he is going to be leaving the party altogether. And it's not just him. It's not just the American people. I do think that we're going to see more Democratic lawmakers also switching sides, because when it comes to this upcoming election, in some of these swing states, people are not happy. And we're going to talk about what you can do about that right now. Now, I think that a really good thing that you guys can do would be to melt the phones of Democratic politicians, especially people in swing states, and let them know that you do not support impeachment. Right here are 31 freshman Democrats. If you give them a call and they get enough calls, then they will get the idea that the impeachment scam is not going to work, and that when it comes time to vote them out of office in 2020, their chances are not looking good. Now, Nancy Pelosi, serial liar Adam Schiff, Jerry Nadler, and the Democrats on the committees, they lose the trust of the American public as they continue to pursue their unprecedented, politically motivated impeachment of the president. Democrats changed the rules. They stacked the hearings with second-hand and third-hand witnesses. They blocked Republicans from their day of witnesses. They cut them off from any decisions or requested witnesses, and they blocked Republicans in the White House from interviewing their original whistleblower, whose name we cannot mention, but he's linked to Adam Schiff, John Brennan, Susan Rice, and Joe Biden. Now, Democrats blocked the White House from confronting their accuser, interrogating their accuser, and providing witnesses, which is a basic right of every American citizen. The entire process has been a sham, and there are 31 Democrats who are representing districts that President Trump won in 2016. These 31 Democrats will lose their seat if they dare to vote for this sham impeachment. Now, you'll be able to find this list of these 31 freshman Democrats. It will be in the pinned comment below. It will link directly to this article, and then you can go and see if you live in one of these districts where a freshman Democrat lives, where President Trump won in 2016. But I think that we really need to send a very strong message here. These people are going to lose if they decide to go against the president. The president is doing what's right for the American people. He is following his agenda, which is the American people's agenda. And these people are being led by the nose by the Democratic Party. And the gentleman who I mentioned that is going to be switching sides, he was told that they were going to primary him out. They were going to run someone else against him. And that didn't sit too well with him. So he knew that he had to leave the party. Now, if you know anybody else in any of these districts, please do send them this video, send them that article, tell them that they need to call and speak to their elected representatives and tell them how you feel. Now, election fraud is a real thing, and Detroit has been hit with a lawsuit alleging that thousands of irregularities on the voter rolls, including dead people, exist. Democrats insist that voter fraud is insignificant and that the voter ID is not needed. They should take a look at a legal dispute currently taking place in Detroit, Michigan. A watchdog group that fights for election integrity is currently suing the city for gross irregularities of their voter rolls. Now, the city of Detroit has been hit with a lawsuit alleging numerous voter registration irregularities, including thousands of dead people on its rolls, and this is according to the complaint. And that is from the Public Interest Legal Foundation. It's an Indiana-based group that litigates to protect election integrity. They filed their complaint on Wednesday to the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Michigan. Janice Winfrey, Detroit's city clerk, and George Azuz, Detroit's director of elections, are named as defendants. The suit alleges that Detroit's voter rolls contain more than 2,500 deceased individuals, nearly 5,000 voters who appear more than once, and 511,786 registered voters in the city, where only 479,267 individuals are eligible able to vote. And they said that voter fraud is not a real thing. Now, this includes someone who was born in 1823. They registered to vote in Detroit almost 200 years ago, according to the lawsuit. Now, this still active voter would have been born 14 years before Michigan even became a state. Everything about this sounds fishy. Obviously, this is something that needs to be looked in many major metropolitan areas. And this group, I'm so happy that they are doing the work to get these people taken off the rolls, because we need to count every single vote, but that only counts if that person is alive and not if you count them twice. All right, finally, guys, the only person vindicated by the IG report was Devin Nunes, because Adam Schiff has been calling him a liar for quite a while now, but now Nunes is speaking out, and he's blasting Schiff for being the real liar. He said it's clear you are in need of rehabilitation. It's crucial you admit you have a problem. Ranking member of the House Intel Committee Devin Nunes blasted the committee's chairman, Adam Schiff, in a letter and told him he's in need of rehabilitation after lying through his teeth for years about the Steele dossier, Russia collusion, FISA abuses, and more. Nunes told Schiff he has a serious problem with lying and told him it's crucial you admit you have a problem. He also said, after publishing false conclusions of such enormity on a topic directly within this committee's oversight responsibilities, it is clear you are in need of rehabilitation, and I hope this letter will serve as the first step in that vital process. As you know, your misguided validation of the FISA warrant was part of a years-long pattern in which you touted Christopher Steele's credentials and reliability. Leaker and liar Adam Schiff for years claimed he had evidence that the Trump campaign colluded with Russians to hack the 2016 election. Of course, this turned out to be a lie, but Schiff continued to spread falsehoods about the FISA process and said the FBI met the rigor of transparency and never omitted anything from the FISA applications when they targeted Trump campaign advisor Carter Page for surveillance. Now, another lie was exposed after the DOJ IG released a report with evidence to the contrary. DOJ Inspector General Michael Horowitz found 17 significant errors and omissions in the FISA applications. The FBI defrauded the FISA court, but Schiff continued to spin and lie like a sociopath on Sunday after ABC's George Stephanopoulos confronted him for making false FISA claims. Now, here is the full text of the letter, but I'm going to allow you guys to go ahead and read this yourself. It is pretty good. Now, on the topic of Adam Schiff lying about this, let's go take a look at a couple of posts to even out the day. All right, right here, post 3679, Adam Schiff knowingly lied to the American people regarding the FBI's actions. Adam Schiff memo was false. If Adam Schiff was privy to the Gang of Eight classified material, would he not know the same facts, truth, as Devin Nunes and others? Knowingly. Remember, we've been told that multiple times. He did it knowingly. Op activity pre-July 2016. Why is this relevant? It's worth watching from 11:50 to the end. Let's go ahead and take a look at that clip. And wouldn't you know it, Fox News has blocked their own video from appearing on the Five's official channel. This is unprecedented. It has been removed. Well, guys, looks like the mainstream media, the fake news, are deep in this op. Don't forget, timing is important. How many coincidences? Use of coincidences essential not to violate national security before it's mathematically impossible. FISA was the start, and now we're approaching the end. Well, guys, the truth is out. There's no stopping it now. Everything will be revealed. Everybody will understand exactly what's been going on if they don't already. Coincidence? There's no such thing. So please, guys, sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and continue to enjoy the show. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, it's Red Pill. I just wanted to say thank you very much for watching the video. Please do consider supporting the channel by liking and sharing this video. Do also make sure that you are subscribed and that you've got notifications turned on so you can be the first to see my videos when I put them out on a daily basis. If you want to support the channel in other ways, you can always check the links in the description of this video below. And once again, thank you as always for joining me. Bye-bye.